Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Metabreakers Hearthstone Podcast. This is episode 17. Our special guest today is the mighty Pocket Aces from Twitch. How are you guys doing? We got DmoneyGames as normal, Rob the Warshack as normal, and Pocket Aces. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Naturally, I'm also a streamer, but I play a lot of games. But on stream, I only play Hearthstone. I got into gaming, I guess, a long time ago, playing Madden and Street Fighter and stuff like that. And I transitioned to Overwatch when I got older, and then I found Hearthstone through my brother, and then I started playing that last September and never looked back. And so I just love the game now. And then I hopped into DMoney stream, got to know him, and that's how I met Warshack and Draco. So it's been a wild ride the past year, but happy to be here. So
yeah, you're on the big stage now. Oh yeah, you made it. Welcome to the podcast. I know you are a rogue aficionado, so we're gonna have some interesting things to talk about later.
Yeah, it's kind of a perfect week to have you on here when they're kind of like ganking your favorite class. So it's definitely time to hear what you think is going to happen for that. So it's perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Yeah. Well,
oh, you muted yourself for a second.
My bad. So I can't wait to talk about it.
All good.
But yeah, it'll be fun.
And just so chat knows, how many games did you say you've played with Rogue?
Overall, I have like 1,500 wins with Rogue. I think last season I played just last month like 700 games total.
That's insane.
Your take will be quite an informative one. We'll work to it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good. So we've got the meta pulled up here.
Ooh, the meta. It doesn't look like it's changed much at all this week, I feel like, guys. I got to look up the comparison.
I feel like Bird has fallen.
It's like very close. They were all like around 49% last time. Like Rogue, Druid, Paladin, even I think.
Demon Hunter got better, like substantially. Like it got 0.4 better on the top, which is pretty.
Yeah. I'm curious, Draco. Do you think that's driven by the new control Demon Hunter we've seen a lot of recently?
Probably not.
No.
No, that deck is really hard to play. So the only people that actually kick ass with it are the people that already kick ass. You know what I mean? I did a whole EU climb with Demon Hunter, and I went like 86 and 33. It's definitely that deck, the tempo one, because it's really stupid, man. Like, especially climbing on a fresh ladder with it, and it did not feel fair. I'll be honest, but it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's been Demon Hunter since its release, so, you know. Hey. Well, I mean, we're going to talk about the changes later, but, yeah. Looks like we have the still Hunter classes taken over. Shaman actually moved up a little tiny bit. I think maybe that was because Boar Control had been kind of killing it with Totem Shaman. We've been seeing some Totem Shaman doing well in some tournaments as well, some qualifiers. So it's cool to see Shaman going up a little bit. Totem Shaman's really not the archetype I would play, but
surprise.
I'm gonna guess you're you do the Highlander variant or a more control variant.
Yeah, I would do one of those too.
Something less consistent.
Fair enough.
I mean, I played in the qualifiers yesterday, and one of the matchups was a Totem Shaman. So, I mean, it is getting popular due to people playing it. So, maybe it'll spike up when the nerfs hit.
A friend in my Discord was bringing it in the qualifiers yesterday, so he was asking me to throw Demon Hunter at him, and I was like, "Dude, are you sure you want me to do this right now? It's not gonna be fun. Like, you're just gonna lose like every game." And he was like, "Nah, dude, please do it." And that's exactly what happened. He just lost like 4 in a row, and then we just stopped. But
he got obliterated.
Yeah, it was funny.
I mean, I'm sure it has some good matchups, and that's why people are bringing it, because it's definitely better in a tournament format when you can actually ban stuff and target a certain deck.
It targets Druid, but dies the Demon Hunter. It's weird because you bring it in the the permitting warrior archetype.
Yeah.
I believe, right? Where you bring like shaman, priest, and like paladin or something like that, so you can like gank through the druids and everything. But you basically have to let your shaman die to demon hunter. If that matchup happens, like you just lose. But then, yeah, this happened to me in a qualifier. I lost to the totem shaman lineup. I always talk about this, but that was because druid cannot beat totem shaman. I don't understand how that would ever be possible. Like just getting rid of like an 8 health totem or something. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to ramp up and get exotic mount seller down as soon as possible to just like try to contest the board or something. I don't know.
But they put all the evil totems down and require all this like early remote removal.
If they get a good start, then you're probably just it's over.
Yeah.
Would you also say that the Murloc Paladin has a good matchup against like the Druid and those other slower decks as well? Because Paladins continues to stay up there, even though I don't like see a ton of it on ladder. It seemingly is doing well, even though there's not a ton of people playing it. So
the reason it's good against Druid is like pretty much Toxfin, because Toxfin is like the only way you stabilize against them is like getting the Glowfly down before they get it off, which is rare. And then if you don't have that situation happen, then you have to plant like an Emerald Explorer, and then they just Toxfin through it and kill you, usually. So that's how it's gone in my experience.
One interesting thing I've seen in Paladin, and I'm not sure if this is a meme or if this is actually a real thing, is like the introduction of recurring villain into the deck list. Because like with the Librams, right? Like you can just put 0 mana buff on it, and then you kill it and it comes right back. You kill it and it comes right back because it has the 4 attack. And so I think that's like an interesting interaction. I don't know if it's something that people have caught on to or think that is actually like significant, but it's definitely something I thought could be kind of spicy if people actually like playing the Paladin lineup.
Are you talking about playing Paladin against Priest and buffing up everything's attack to 4 every turn so they can't kill it?
Oh, no. So I was talking about the card Recurring Villain. Do you know what I'm talking? So okay. There's a card whose effect is if this card has an attack of 4 or more, resummon it, right? And that's the Death Rattle. And so when you play it, it's a 3/6. You buff it into a 4/7 with your presumably 0 cost Librams, like the Libram of Wisdom, right? Then you trade it in, and then you just put it back on the it just comes back on the board, and then you buff it again because the Libram goes back to your hand. So it's just like it's very sticky and really hard to remove, and then trades well into everything because it's a 4/7.
Yeah, so that's a really good point that you brought up. I believe Ike was posting quite a few deck lists with this sort of like Libram, mid-rangey deck. And he also ran, the eggs. He ran Terran Gorefiend. He ran, what was it, the Defender, because, that can give it taunt and it gives it an attack. And so that also counts as like the Libram stuff. So yeah, it was like a really spicy deck that I saw. I was actually going to play it. But yeah, maybe that could be.
In it? The robot,
I believe as well. Yep.
I'm glad that you brought up Ike because I actually lost to him on ladder on his stream with that deck. And he actually posted about it on Twitter because I had made a 2020 Edwin and I was like, oh, I win. And then he just played 2 air raids and I had no way to remove the taunts. And he just told me, I was like, all right, well, I guess I didn't win. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
I saw that tweet. Yeah, this is a really interesting thing. I like that people are using new cards, or not new cards, like just like cards that are underused, like nobody even thinks about, like just like including Magtheridon into like the control Demon Hunter. Yeah, this just makes me wonder even more. I always say it on the podcast, but like it makes me wonder even more, like if there's some kind of hidden gem still out there that we just are missing. Yeah. That's about it.
Well, that's the meta.
Yeah, is there any other spicy decks? Stuff. Yeah. No other spicy decks that you guys have popped up recently? Like, oh my god. I know that Ike one was kind of spicy. I know the Cube Priest has been spicy, but nothing really else. I mean, I haven't really played a lot this past week, so I don't. Oh, Control Mage, D-Money. I don't know if you've been seeing that at all, but more of like a control variant of Mage that runs just like duplicates of like the Dragoncaster, the Power Creation, the Deep Freeze, 2 Yogg boxes, or is it just Highlander Mage, really?
I mean, that's just like a box Mage. I think that's just like people abusing Dragoncaster while they can and like just playing boxes for content mostly, but I mean it's good. Like box can just win you the game, and DragonCaster can just win you the game. Sorry. If you coin it out on 5, like you can DragonCaster into power creation or box and just win the game flat out in certain matchups. So that's what makes it really good. I don't think anything else in the deck is really too great. But you never know. Once this nerf hits, I don't know if DragonCaster is really going to fit into Highlander or if it's just going to be in that deck. So
Okay. Oh yeah, we can move to nerfs. There's a lot to talk about here. A lot of cards got hit. A lot of Demon Hunter cards got hit, and especially, basically, the entire Rogue got hit. So
Can
there's
we
a lot
zoom
here
in
to
on,
unpack.
one at a time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's do that.
We can focus in on like the top.
Okay,
This work.
so we can start with DQA. So the dragons are not free now; they cost 1, essentially.
yeah, I mean this is one of the biggest changes because it affects so many different decks. Of course, you could do a Highlander with anything. So like just being able to like it really depends on what dragons you would get, but like even if you were to get like a 3/2 and a 3/5 or something like that, like you're just losing out on so much for turn 9 compared to like what it used to be. And it just makes it like actually pretty balanced. I don't know, like it was pretty it would be game ending like if a Highlander Hunter just tempos out this Dragon Queen with like a Caligos and something crazy. Like it's just it'll also like allow for it won't let people just play it and get like Nazari on turn 9 or like Alexstrasza, just like crazy circumstances that really shouldn't have happened and like crazy board swings. So I think it's just really good for the game. Like even though I'm a Highlander player myself, I love Highlander decks, but like it just makes it fair. And like even if you're on 10 mana, like you'll be able to play a dragon along with it still. So like it's still like good. The card is still good, definitely.
Yeah. You run it if you run a Highlander deck, it's still like by far strong enough to justify in that situation, I would say. People say they might not run it in Highlander Hunter, which is kind of crazy because it is kind of a chunky card, and waiting till turn 9 to play something in Hunter just to like not be able to play at all does kind of not seem smorky.
I
I don't know.
You still play this card in Highlander deck.
I feel like
It's
you do
just-
too.
I agree. Like I think that like even if it's not a true turn 9 play, like being able to go like turn 10 an 8/8 body plus a potential like another 8/8 body or a 12/12 or whatever you might get is like still an extremely powerful board swing, right? So it's like I think that it's still too much power to forego. Like sure you don't get the 2 dragons on board at the same time, but like it's like you're paying 9 mana to do some pretty busted things, and I guess like overall you're paying 11 mana to do some pretty busted things. So at the end of the day, it's still mana cheating, right? So and mana cheating wins games. So
I think this hurts Questlock a lot, honestly. You know what I mean? Because like they use it just for the whole instant board context to like lock you out of like a turn and make lethal, and now this whole situation is just not going to be as good, and they already don't have enough hand space a lot of times. So I don't know. Do you run this in Questlock?
Yeah, because it's a dragon, so it's an activator for Nether Wing. It's an activator for Nether Breath. It's not only has the ability of itself, it's also tagged as the dragon. So I think it's pretty good. I think it's just fair now. It's just a fair card.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, Questlock you can always get it for 0 too. So, well, I mean, I'm serious, but
we're back to the original problem.
Pretty much. But somebody mentioned the other day in my chat that I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Frizz now being played because it'll reduce this guy to 7, and then you play it, and you still get to play the 2 dragons or whatever, depending on when you play it.
That's very interesting.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So maybe especially in like a deck like Highlander Mage, which is a little slower and can afford to run something like Frizz, we might see it in there.
And Frizz is 4 mana, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's actually a pretty like good bodied on as a 5/4 for 4 mana and then to be able to get that effect. So I think that like Frizz could actually be a really interesting addition to a lot of decks.
Frizz is crazy. We thought she was gonna break the game when she was printed, but then like it was actually like very what is the word? Not that crazy. Or
Yeah.
it's nuts.
How broken does the meta have to be for a 4 mana 5/4? Your dragons in all the dragons in your deck reduce cost by 2, and it's literally not played. It's not even played. Like how
That's
broken
nuts.
does a meta have to be to that card doesn't see play? Blows my mind.
I remember people were mad when it was printed because they're like, this is the same problem that Kelseth did. You know, like it's just giving you this huge advantage from drawing it in the game. But it wasn't anything close to the power level of Kelseth with none of the restriction. It's confusing. I don't get it. I guess it's just reducing your dragons by 2 isn't as powerful as we thought.
I think it's just too slow for the current meta, even though I don't know, like it's either you're like really slow in the meta right now or you're like really fast. And I don't know, maybe just
like
dragons aren't strong enough overall.
I mean,
Not sure.
dragons are pretty good. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza gives you some pretty good dragons.
I mean, that's a good one, yes. But like the rest of them are like not even too insane. So I mean, maybe with this next expansion, we'll be seeing more dragons, and that'll probably boost that up as well.
We did run Fritz and Embiggen Druid, and that was because Emerald Explorer is fucking awesome. You know.
I mean, I would say the other potential risk about Frizz though, and why it might not see as much play, is that if you don't play it on 4, 5, or 6, potentially, like it can be a kind of a dead card, right? Because at that point, like especially with the way the meta is now, playing like a 4 mana 5/4 that doesn't have an immediate effect on board can really put you behind, especially if you're already losing, right? So it's like I do see why it might not get a lot of play, because if you don't play it early, it just doesn't get played, and then it becomes like a dead card, right? So
Yeah.
I guess it kind of makes sense to me.
And you also don't kind of want to keep it in your mulligan because it's 4. That's super slow.
Exactly. It's just it can be a hard card to play, but like if you pull it off, then it's extremely rewarding. So
yeah, I mean, I think the same thing can be said for like cards like Ramp, you know, for like Overgrowth or Wild Growth. You know, after turn 7 or 8, they're not really that good anymore. You know, so I kind of it follows the same suit as any early impact card, right? If you draw in the early game, you play it, has big impact on the late game, and you're better off. But if you don't draw it and you get a late game, it's like, all right, well, now it's a dead card. That's kind of how that functions, right?
That's, I mean, yes and no, right? Because for example, Ramp, like Overgrowth, right? Especially how it functions in the Druid deck. So if you don't draw Overgrowth early and play it on 4, it could also be used to, like, after you do Ramp or after you are at 10 mana, it could be used to draw cards, right? Because then you play Overgrowth and then you get the 0 mana draw a card, etc. So like there's still benefits to having Overgrowth even if you're not able to play it. But then on top of that, right, you can also include 2 Overgrowths in your deck, so you're more likely to be able to get an Overgrowth at the beginning of the game in your mulligan or like sometime before turn 4. So it's like it is a lot less risky, I would say.
Yeah, it adds more consistency and it has that secondary effect. Absolutely,
synergy, right? Like, because then it's also a spell for Glowfly Swarm and for Mount Seller. There's just a lot more synergy.
Overgrowth is on a different power level as a card than Fritz. Like Overgrowth is like itself a card that brings Druid to extreme viability. Like that card is amazing, and Fritz is okay.
Okay, I was just thinking of
Overgrowth affects your entire deck, whereas Frizz will affect like 6 or 7 or 8 cards.
I do get your comparison though, Rob. I get exactly.
I was just trying to think of a 4 mana card that when you draw it later on, it doesn't feel that good, and that's the first thing that popped into my mind. But no, Pocket Ace had great counter argument and good points to follow through. So absolutely, I agree with you, Pocket.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, Draco, it's not Fritz, it's Frizz. I'm just saying.
I thought she was just the driver of the Magic School Bus. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is coming from someone who calls Zephyrus Zephyrs. So I would.
All right.
I call Kane Kanye. I mean, yeah.
I think that's our next homie we need to talk about, right?
Kanye? Is Kanye next?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Kanye Sun Fury. Getting his waistline hit. Ooh.
I don't know if we want to start off with the Demon Hunter take, or if we want to go to somebody else that's anti-Demon Hunter like me.
Okay, you can do it. You can start it, Dan. Obviously, you want to start it off. Go ahead, rock it off.
Honestly, I didn't really think this card needed to be changed. I know a lot of people have been talking about it when, like, especially when it first got, when they first actually revealed this card. I was also like, well, fuck, like this card is gonna be insane. But after like playing with it, the only thing that's insane about it was like its stat line. Like the actual effect is like fine. I was okay with it. But like I was even okay with the stat line, like just compared to other Demon Hunter cards, I was like fine. Like they don't really have to touch it. But I think the only thing that they could touch about it was the stat line, and I'm glad that they made a 3/4. I think it's completely balanced now, quote unquote balanced. Like I think the stats are really like this was a good change in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, this change is pretty subtle. What's your take, Rob?
Well, it was kind of like just really good before, like no downside, right? You had good mana cost, good attack, good like HP, crazy ability, has charge, right? Like it's just a well-rounded, just like overstated, overpowered card. Now the card matches like you have a powerful ability, but you pay in a little bit of mana cost, you pay in the health. You know what I mean? Like there's actually some form of drawback with this card now. You're paying for something, and that something is charge and the fact that taunts don't matter. And this is something that we've talked about before with just printing very powerful cards at the normal mana cost that have good abilities with good stats. And that's how you get large power creep. So this is like what it should have been. Just the card is now fair. It's statted appropriately for what it can do. And that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think that 1 health, like while it is a subtle change, it does make
Very impactful.
It does make a difference, like definitely in games, like especially as a Reno Mage player, like playing Reno and sometimes that 1 extra damage, like for playing my Reno on board on turn 6, like sometimes I need 1 extra damage, or like playing just playing a different card. Like it's just it does make an impact, even though it's a small impact. Like I think all these Demon Hunter changes combined make a big impact, but separately it like may not seem as large, you know.
No, yeah, this is big. I mean, the difference between 5 and 4 is huge. Unless you're playing against another Demon Hunter and they metamorphosis, then nothing changes.
So an interesting thing about this right here is this makes I-Beam a lot more necessary, right? Because a very popular card ran to kill Demon Hunters now has a 4/3 stat line called Frozen Shadow Weaver. And one of the only answers you can use to Frozen Shadow Weaver so you don't lose the game is Kanye.
That's true.
And now Kanye has to take the L for it. So that's horrible. So now you have to run I-Beams so that if you're playing a Mirror or anyone else who plays a Frozen Shadow Weaver, which is practically the whole meta now, you're going to need to get rid of it and not lose entirely like tempo on the board. So this card, you're never going to want to play it really on curve now. You're rarely going to want to do that because most of the time your opponents want you to do that. Like Druids, when they see you drop this on turn 4, they instantly think, okay, Ysera, coin Ysera, Ironbark. That's how I win this game. But now you never drop this on 4. So you're going to have to like put actual 4 drops in the deck, like Mana Sabers and some I-Beams and stuff. So it really does affect the entire deck creation when you even touch the stat line like a little bit, because that card was needed for value trading into specific targets to maintain board control. It's weird, but yeah, it's still an auto include.
Very true. Yeah, you usually don't see like somebody like building up and then like saving Kane for the end game. Like it's just because it was so good on its own that you could just slam it on 4 and like it's still good. But now, yeah, that's a good point. Like now we might see people just like not even running it or just like holding it till the end as like a finisher, which was I think what it was
intention was for.
Yeah. You're playing it for his ability. You're not playing him because he's just a beefy statted 4-drop who also has an insane ability. You actually have to play to him and his ability now because he's not as beefy.
Fine.
Yeah, this trading negatively into Frozen Shadow Weaver, I feel like is the most important takeaway from like that in the meta we have today.
Yeah. All right, what do we got next?
Ooh.
Oh,
Next, let's go with the bottom left. We have Pocket Ace specialty right here. Words will be said, chat.
Oh man, F's in the chat for Galacron Rogue, man. Yeah,
What are you talking
so
about?
I genuinely do think that this kills Galacron for Rogue. Like I've tried coming up with several justifications as to why it might not. But in reality, this entire deck is predicated on having a huge swing turn, hopefully on turn 7, but even on turn 8 or turn 9, it doesn't work anymore. So it's predicated on having these giant swing turns, right? That now become almost impossible because if you play this on 7, you play nothing else. If you play this on 8, you play one card that might be completely insignificant. Then you add on top of that the fact that it entirely breaks energy, as if it wasn't frustrating enough to draw Shadow Step and Backstab off of Galacron before. Now it becomes like actively detrimental, right? So it's huge. I think that it entirely breaks the deck. Galacron becomes, I would almost say, unplayable absent of receiving support in the next expansion. But I mean, we'll have to see how the meta shakes out. Maybe someone who's a much better player than myself, like at the top of ladder, might be able to figure out a way where this actually works. But to me, this is kind of dead, right? And so I do think it's worth noting though that Rogue does still have the ability to draw 0 mana cards through Tog, and so like that ability is still there. And I will say that I do think that 0 mana cards are something that has been wrong with the game and like probably shouldn't be a thing. And so I have to respect that, like, you know, Blizzard listened. Like we said that we wanted to get rid of 0 mana cards and mana cheating, and they listened, right? And I that's why, like, you know, as sad as I am about this being my favorite deck and it being unplayable, like I have to give Blizzard credit for doing something that I think makes the game better, which is eliminating completely absurd turns like Tog into 0 mana fully invoked Galacron, into 0 mana Kronks, into 0 mana.
Yeah.
And so I have to respect that, and it's sad, but yeah, I think the deck's gone, and hopefully Rogue receives more support in the next expansion.
I don't understand why they have to do like the really backwards synergy shit instead of just doing intentional like nerfs. Like it's just like they did with I-Beam. I had the same complaint with it, where if now I draw it off a skull and it's outcasted, that makes my card cost 1. So I have to play with this backwards mindset to use an I-Beam before I outcast it sometimes, and it's super annoying. Like, why could they not make it just say, draw a specific amount of cards, reduce their cost by a specific amount, so that if you drew the cards that you always run in Rogue, like Shadow Step and Backstab, it wouldn't be like punishing you for building your deck around this huge endgame reward. Yeah. I don't get it. Like,
I mean, if you're drawing 4 cards and they're all costing 1, like if you draw a Backstab and a Shadow Step, like sure it's gonna hurt, but like I'm sure you're gonna get like big discounts on the other 2 cards at least. Like I think it's just
not really though, right? Because if you look at the deck list, like the standard Galacron Rogue deck list only runs 6-7 cards that are above 3 mana. Like it's Galacron, Kronks, Tog, Flick, and then your 2 Shield of Galacrons. So like the chances of you really getting rewarded with like a high mana card is like pretty low, especially if you can't play this on turn 7 anymore, right? Because that means that's 2 additional turns where you're drawing cards out of your deck, and so like I don't know. Like I think that's actually pretty impactful, because like the chances that you do draw some of your lower cost cards like Backstab and Shadow Step are like they're of course they're no higher than they were before, but like now it's just like such a problem.
Feels bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Chuck.
And if you're not, you know, they don't always Galacron for 4. Right? Like, what if you play it for 1 or play it for 2, and like the one card you draw is like Backstab? So you have like this, you know, you have this. Blizzard has always had this sort of mindset of like, when you play like a hero card or like a powerful card or some sort of ability that like, you know, will change the game from then on, that it needs to feel good for the player that's doing it. Right? They always want this sort of like, you played something powerful, you get rewarded, and this basically goes against that, where you're playing your Galacron, something they like hyped a lot and they gave away basically for free to every player. and you play this big Galakrond and you change your hero and big animations, and then like what happened was actually worse off than if you would have just not played the card, right?
Yeah.
So
Well-
granted, go on.
No, you keep going.
Oh,
sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, I now lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, it's gone. I'll try to receive it. You go ahead now.
So yeah, that's a good point about like from Pocket on like the amount of cards that are over 3 mana that you run and everything. I feel like this might get now cut in a more aggressive version like Stealth Rogue or something, and we might see Galakrond only played in like a Highlander variant where they are running like the higher costed cards. But like you also have to keep in mind, like if you do get the fully invoke, I mean, regardless, you're always gonna get 7 armor, which is really big for Rogue because they don't have any way to heal at the moment. Really, besides like Galakrond and Kronks. So you do get the 5 armor, you would get the 5/2 weapon if you're fully invoked, so that is still decent.
Yeah.
Like even if you're not doing anything per se on that turn besides just playing Galakrond, you still are setting up for next turn, and you have a nice weapon to swing with, you have some armor to protect you. It's like still good, it's just nowhere near what it was, and now I could see it being cut in a more aggressive kind of list, yeah. Or maybe you would just have to change your deck around to include some higher costed cards for that potential high roll. I don't know.
I fished it up, found it in
All right.
my memories. Yeah, we got it back from the mainframe.
Do it.
It was actually a question towards Pocket Aces, and mine was like, what would you recommend them to have done instead? You don't get 0 mana cards. Is it like a flat tax of, hey, just reduces the cards by 3? Would actually like just reducing them by like a flat amount be better than just changing them to 1? You think? Like, what would be your stance on that?
That's exactly what I was thinking. So like, I feel like it really could have been helpful if you just say reduce the cards by like if you're. I don't know if you stagger it based on like how much you're invoked, but like whatever. But yeah, just cost reduction of the cards.
Maybe 4.
Like
'cause it's better than
2,
Skull.
2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, something like that.
Yeah, something like that, right? But then, I mean, you run into the issue though, but like, if you reduce it by 3, then like, how much reward are you getting on your top range, right? Because then it's like you're getting 3 mana Kronks, which is like just okay. Like maybe I do prefer 1 mana Kronks instead, because then now it becomes like, hey, turn 8, if I pull Kronks, I'm playing Kronks. But like now, if I play a turn 8, if I pull Kronks, I have to wait till next turn still, right? So I don't know. Like I really don't know if there is a way to like change this to make it like equally as good or just like a slightly less good, right?
4 mana. It's the sweet spot, man. You know, it's more than Skull. It makes your shields cost 1, your Kronks cost 2. Your, that I feel like is like the perfect amount, right?
Well, yeah.
4.
Yeah, draw 4, reduce by 4. It's an easy number, right? 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Yeah, maybe that was the right way to go. But yeah, whatever this is right here.
This is not the right way to go.
Yeah, but yeah, no, maybe 4 mana reduction was pretty good. That could have been good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this card was a bit too strong ever since it was released. Honestly, I think a lot of people have had a problem with this Galakrond in specific, besides the Shaman Galakrond, of course, on release.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But yeah, this the 0 cost thing, yeah, we've talked about it. It's a problem in general, and I think this was bound to happen. I'm glad they actually addressed it. And I'm sure they're gonna release some kind of broken thing in the next expansion that's gonna be super great to get for 1 cost, and you're gonna be jumping for joy, Pocket Aces. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have faith that they'll support Rogue in the next expansion, and if they don't, hey, there's always Edwin, right? So.
Yeah, you can run the Smork Scimitar now. This is total justification for using that 2 mana 4 damage weapon, or the 3. What is that, 3? It's like a combo. Give your weapon.
Oh
plus
yeah,
2
Hook
attack.
Scimitar. Yeah, it's a 3 mana combo weapon.
Yeah. Now those decks can come back and kill you really fast.
Oh, great.
D-Money will love it.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Good thing they nerfed the Galakrond, and now you can run a whole bunch of cards to just kill your opponent.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. What do we got next here?
Got the
It's
Mighty
legendary
Metamorphosis.
Oof, I love this. I love this a lot. Yeah, so Metamorphosis now does 1 less damage for each use, so 2 damage less overall. This is great. I had been talking about how this card should be nerfed, but I was proposing that maybe they make your hero power cost 2 when you're in Metamorphosis mode. But you know, Demon Hunter usually at that point has the mana, has a little bit extra mana later on in the game anyway. So yeah, I like this change a lot. It's the same kind of thing with Kane and some of the other changes we see. Like, it's kind of a subtle change, but it's gonna add up, especially if you're playing like Volpera and you get another Metamorphosis, then that's 4 damage overall. And this does make a big difference. Like, it's just like extra chip damage, and it could be the difference between you surviving or just losing the game.
Shield of Galakrons got way better. Like those like 4 or 5 taunts.
That's true.
So much better now, because this thing was like how to get through that if you didn't have a glaive bound adept on turn 6. Now they just get to plan up taunts and you can't do anything about it. It's not like you can even equip a war glaives now on turn, like it's
I
have a funky feeling about this card, because when I think of like if they were going to change this card like this, because now it's kind of just pretty bad, right? When you think of like Demon Hunter, and I played a little bit of Demon Hunter in WoW, when you Metamorphosis, when you would do that, you'd have like Metamorphosis kind of did different things. So for me, probably not, they'd never do this, but like when you Metamorphosis, if they're going to change it like this, give it like 2 options or 3 options, so you can Metamorphosis, like you can deal the damage, which would be the more aggressive route. You could be like, when you Metamorphosis, you could like in WoW, you could be a tank, so maybe like deal 2 damage, get 4 health or something. I don't know, just other options than just this. So like it's not only used as aggressiveness, as an aggressive hero power now, so it has like more utility. I don't know. I just didn't like this change at all. I feel like they could have flared it up and done something really cool with this card. Instead, now it's just kind of like a dead legendary.
But at least there's an animation for it now.
Yeah.
There's a sick animation.
Yeah, it's like honestly like pretty impactful because of the controlling concept of it just got way worse. But in terms of like the face damage, like burst perspective, it's still pretty auto include, I would say. Like not having to care about your opponent's board, taunts, or anything, and being able to just nail them for 8 and then the dome is going to be something that like Demon Hunter doesn't want to get rid of. It's not like we'd stop running Metamorphosis now because we lost 2 damage cumulatively over this entire nerf. But it's
but it lost a bit of its flair. I don't know. To me, it just like it had this like at 5 damage, it had this sort of like, damn, they Metamorphosis. They're like, shooting out the big daddy damage. And now at 4, I'm just like, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like a wet noodle.
Well,
so,
yeah, like I would say, like, if you think about all the ways in which heroes can heal for specifically 5 health, and that could potentially put Metamorphosis to be one-off instead of lethal, it's actually pretty interesting, right? Like Zephyrus into Radiance, or Galakrond gives you 5 shield, or shield block, right? Like there's a number of ways I think that 4 is very different from 5 when it comes to pushing damage, right? So
yeah, great point.
It could mean like a lot, because I very frequently, like as someone who plays Galakrond Rogue a lot, like have found myself in situations where like that 1 extra damage, or like that being 5 damage, prevents me from playing Galakrond on a turn, because I'm like, well, if I play Galakrond, I'm just dead, because he just kills my shield with Metamorphosis, and then he just can run me down with whatever he has on board, whatever, right? But now like Metamorphosis doing 4, like, is it so significant that like it makes it unplayable? No, because like Demon Hunter has plenty of ways to find 1 damage, right? But it could potentially be the difference between lethal and not lethal, and I think that could be significant.
Yeah, this brings up a concept I have when I coach people Demon Hunter very frequently, which a real big problem I notice with players that don't play a lot of shit ton of Demon Hunter is that sometimes you float mana instead of using like damage in your hands. A lot of people do that, when sometimes you could just like, use your Twin Slices now and you sacrifice potentially having reach with Warglaives or something later just to like deal that instantaneous burst. A lot of times that closes out games for people that, are trying to squeeze out as much wins as possible with Demon Hunter, just from chucking in a little bit of extra damage, because the reason you don't win with Demon Hunter is because you're only like 1 off, you're 4 off, you're 5 off, and then your opponent just like locks you out and takes the board back and you're stuck and you lose. And this now is hurting that burst in that normal deck that we see all the time now, that tempo Demon Hunter deck, which brings us back to that original point I was making on the Kane, which is that you're going to have to completely rebuild the Demon Hunter deck now, because the burst on there was meant to be like right over what you need to kill like everything. But now, since all the bursts got pushed back, it's like Twin Slice nerf kind of helps. It's the opposite. It still just requires like, okay, how are we going to make this work with a curve now to actually end the game? Because this now no longer removes taunts. You only have 8 total to face. You're probably going to need to like think of like, okay, we got to run Imprisoned Antanes in the deck now, because that extra 10 damage we get makes this 8 damage we get from Metamorphosis be that extra amount that it pushes them over the limit now. But yeah, it's the nerfing of the burst is just going to end up making the whole entire tempo deck get rebuilt into having different cards in it. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be rebuilt, but like you said before, like it's still going to use this card. I think every Demon Hunter should just use the card. It's still, you're paying 7 mana for 8 damage, which, I mean, it's definitely not as good as 10 damage, but the fact that you get to target whatever you want, including your opponent's face, is just a huge thing, and it's spread out over 2 turns, which does make it better. So yeah, I mean, there's really no downside to running this card. It's still really good, but now I think it's just fair. It's kind of the same thing with
fairer.
Yeah, more fair.
I don't know if it's fair. I mean, it's like a lot of bursts you can't interact with. Fair would never be the word I use to describe Metamorphosis.
Well, I mean, it's kind of fair because you use your hero power and then you're not able to use your other hero power on that one turn. I don't know. I think they needed to change something, and I'm happy that they actually changed this over like the mana cost of it. I think it's actually better. Like I think it's more of a nerf than changing like the hero power to costing 2 when you're in Metamorphosis or something. Yeah, it just makes the deck less oppressive, which is good because it's too oppressive, in my opinion.
If you love playing Demon Hunter, do not disenchant your Metamorphosis, guys. Like, you're going to use it still, probably, if you like playing Demon Hunter. Just saying.
Well, they're offering free dust refunds, so even if you do disenchant it, you can just remake it for the same cost.
True.
You know what I mean? So I don't think there's any downside to DEing anything that gets changed. You get the same amount back.
It's about pride, Warshack. Okay.
Right.
Did you just associate?
If you're a true Demon Hunter, you better not disenchant this card, or else nobody in the Demon Hunter community is gonna view you as a true Demon Hunter anymore. Like you got to stick by your class for all the nerfs, man.
That kind of clout is what like feeds me, man. Like,
those are big words coming from a mage player. Wow.
I'm just saying, man.
I'm just saying, man. The League of the Demon Hunter communities will not stand for this disenchantment.
Yeah, man. We'll just like ban you if you ever disenchant a Metamorphosis, man. Like, you just can't hang.
All right, D-Money, here's your girl.
Hey. Yeah. Dragoncaster getting changed from 6 mana to 7 mana. And the stats are saying the same. Yeah.
The stats.
Well, I mean, some people were talking about maybe they should have made Dragoncaster 5/5 now that it got changed to 7 mana. And I kind of agree, but I mean, it's okay, Pocket Aces. All right, I see you shaking.
No, thank you.
But yeah, I mean, this is a common thing that we keep seeing with Blizzard, that 1 mana increase, or just one. It's the number 1. Yeah, so like it's just gonna delay it another turn, which actually is pretty impactful because a lot of the cards that you cheat out are 8 mana. So now it's only giving you like a 1 discount on that card. But you also get a 4/4 body, so it's still good. Still definitely good. Even if you play this on turn 8, like you're still getting an extra body on board, which is nice. And sorry, I got distracted by the gifted subs in the chat. But yeah, I think that this change is good because it is stupid to coin out Dragoncaster on turn 5 and play a power creation and get an insane board, like especially if you get like the 5/6s with Death Rattle. Like that's just like, how are you supposed to deal with that? And like even playing box like a turn earlier could just be so impactful and just win you the game. I think that I like the change. I even though I'm a mage player, I like just a fair game and just making the game more fair at least. And this also might have me change up my deck to include something like a Pyroblast in there because I want to get more of a reduction. Like I want, like now that this card's 7 mana, like I have to think about like what is it worth even running in my deck unless I run something like a Pyroblast, just like more heavy, big spells.
Yeah.
Conjurer's Calling on it though got way better now. You know, like you just throw it out there, smack 2 7-drops.
Well, then I was gonna say you can't play 2 of them in the same turn now, because at 6 you could go her, Conjurer's Calling, Conjurer's Calling, but now you can only play her and only do 1 Conjurer's Calling. So I was looking at it as like a nerf.
The 7-drop pool is kind of scary though. Like the 6-drop pool, you can get like it's okay, right? Like the power creation pool is all right sometimes, but the 7-drop pool has some real high rolls.
Yeah.
It also has some real low rolls. That 6 drops are like just the best kind of drop, like in that like 6, 7, 5, whatever, in that range right there, in the tight range. Like 6 is like the one that you go for. Like if you're gonna conjure as a 6 drop or a 7 drop right now, you're usually doing the 6 drop because there's so many more taunts, there's rush guys, all that, or charge minions. For 7, we see a lot of bad things like Bran, and like there are high
Bran
rolls,
is actually the only bad one, and the only bad 7 drop is Bran. Two things
7/5 stealth with the death rattle 7/5 stealth. That would be so horrible.
There's other bad 7 drops. I get them.
No,
all.
it's just Bran. No, it's just Bran.
Evasive Draconid, like there's so many good.
Oh, there's Tentacle Monster with the little tentacle men.
Shima's bad. Shima's bad though.
What do you mean he's bad? He's so good. Don't give me that bullshit.
A Wing Guardian, I would probably take the Wing Guardian.
No. You can't be dropping that rah in here. You want Tentacle Man. No, but 2 things though.
Go ahead.
Q8 and Drem. I appreciate the support. You guys get a little shout out, so thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, much appreciated. Yes, Pocket. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was it?
No.
Yeah, that was it. I just wanted to thank him.
Say, I think that this nerf is significant basically because of the reactions of other decks and how they have to interact with it now, right? Like turn 7 is such a huge unlock for so many decks, right? Like for Galakron Rogue, it's Galakron. For Hunter, it's Bran. Like even getting Blastmaster Boom down on the board and getting your 1/1 bombs for like Bomb Warrior. Like turn 7 is just a big turn for a lot of decks. And so like now being able to spend your turn 7, making your normal turn 7 plays, as opposed to having to react to whatever the hell Dragoncaster did, those shenanigans. Like it like really kind of changes the game, right? Because like now like you've made a power play before they've made a power play, and it comes down to can they afford to Dragoncaster into like power of creation and take that risk, or now do they have to Dragoncaster into something different, like I don't know, Deep Freeze or like whatever, like right? So like it's about like, you know, does Mage now have to be reactionary instead of proactive because now people are getting their turn 7s to do what they want to do, or not? Yeah, so that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, when we look at these changes, like you have to really like look at the whole game like all together, like what turns are really like these powerful turns for other classes and everything. So that's a really good point, along with what Rob said about the fact that you can't play 2 conjures in 1 turn anymore with this.
Crazy. Yeah, this is the turn 7 for Demon Hunter. That's when we skull and we get our outro, so we play it in the same turn and all the other cards we got for free. So that's a good Demon Hunter in turn 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, this is actually pretty good for Demon Hunter because the Deep Freeze is how we like lose against mages, and now you guys can't play it on turn 6. So,
or 5.
Unfortunately, though, I don't know how the Warglaives nerf is really going to pan out with the rebuilding of the deck, because like that pretty much nullifies the existence of Rusted Raider in the deck. So, yeah, it's going to need to be like completely rebuilt. So, but
yeah, Demon Hunter got wrecked. Speaking of Demon Hunter wreckage, the carnage continues on this next episode.
Worst nerf ever for it.
Yeah, this is delightful for me.
Yes, this was I was throwing a party the other day just for this nerf. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, each blade now costs 3 mana. Insane.
Yeah, Draco, you want to take it away. You seem a little flustered.
He looks
over there.
upset. Yeah, he
Honestly, like this whole nerf right here, like totally like questions makes you have to rebuild the whole. This is the real problem, right? This right here changes the whole way the deck is played, because you don't have any 5-drops that you really play on turn 5 except for Adept. But since the Twin Slice nerfed, like that rarely happens on turn 5, right? Because Umberwing and holding it is the only way that's possible to do. So this pushing the curve back in the fast Demon Hunter deck that like really relies on this to buff up their Battle Fiends and their Satyrs, and you use it with the Adepts to kill all your opponent's shit because you don't let them play cards. Like it's like, yeah, it's I have no idea. I can't even fathom what I'm gonna do with this now, because I feel like running 2 Warglaves and then drawing them early on will make me lose the game. But I feel like not having 2 Warglaves in my deck will also make me lose the game. So I'm kind of at like between a rock and a hard place with this nerf right here, because it seems bad to just run 1 Warglaves, and it seems bad to not run any.
This nerf just does not make sense to me, right? Like, they came out with Demon Hunter and they said that they wanted the class identity to be very, very tempo oriented, very in your face, etc., etc. So then to come around and like make a nerf like this that is completely kind of subversive to the class identity itself, it just ruins like the tempo that was granted by this card. It's just like, doesn't really make that much sense. Like, trust me, I'm all for nerfing Demon Hunter. Like, I can't stand playing against the class because it's extremely oppressive in my opinion. But like, this just doesn't make sense on like a fundamental level. I think that this was a bad nerf for the class, and like, to Draco's point, I don't know what Demon Hunters do with this now. Like, this could literally lose them the game if like
we need to test it. Like,
yeah, it's gonna
see if it's good still or not. That's
like,
so
yeah, think about the cards that are around it though, right? Like, now, like, do you have to make a decision of whether to equip Warglaves or play Skull on turn 6, right? Or like, now you're gonna have to delay playing your Glavebound Adept because you can't go turn 5 Glavebound Adept into turn 6, or sorry, turn 5 Warglaves into turn 6 like Glavebound, right? So it's just like, it's really, really weird. Like, so much of the class is dependent on being able to attack, and so to like nerf the tempo that comes with the weapon is just like pretty weird.
I wish
have
they
a
hit
theory.
the attack. Like, I know we talked about this before we went live. I wish they made it a 2/4 in durability, so you still have the flexibility with your buff cards to get through stuff, but it instantly hurts that instant tempo on turn 5, where if your opponent has 3 health minions, you have to decide right there, is it worth using the extra durability of the weapon to get through this stuff now, or do I wait next turn, risk the ooze, let the, like, I feel like at a 2 attack break point, it would have made the card feel bad and worse, but we still could have used it in with its synergy with all of the other cards that we need for the curve. But yeah, what were you gonna say, Rob? Sorry.
Oh, no problem. A theory I have. That theory is we have a 2 mana costing Demon Hunter weapon, have a 3 mana costing Demon Hunter weapon. We currently already have a 7, and now we have a 6. So this upcoming expansion, we will be seeing a 4 and or a 5 mana cost Demon Hunter weapon. And they didn't really want 2 5-cost Demon Hunter weapons. So they're just spacing these weapons out. So depending on what kind of Demon Hunter you would like to play, more aggressive, you pick the earlier game weapons, more control, the later weapons. And weapons are a huge part of Demon Hunter in lore and WoW. And being able to select among a variety of weapons amongst the wall at all different mana costs for that low price is what I believe they're going to be pushing for.
It's going to be Thunderwing, and it's going to be a 5 mana 2/2 outcast summon 2 5/5 demons. That's going to be it. It's like the Umberwing, but it's thicker, right? You have to outcast it to get the boys. So
I like your theory, Rob. I do. That could be a thing. I don't really know the WoW lore too much, but definitely not DracoCatt's theory there. I don't know.
Cool Kid's right. They should have Rush. Why would they be out? Why would we need to outcast the weapon to summon 2 5/5 demons if they didn't have Rush? So they should definitely have Rush too for Thunderwing.
We should give them lifesteal. Because, why not? And then if they have lifesteal and Rush, you don't want them to die right away, so might as well just slap some Divine Shield on there. Like, let's be real.
Outcast summon 2 Priestess of Fury with Reborn. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have Protect Face, so give them Taunt.
I think that this Warglaves change. I mean, I've been talking about this card since day one of the expansion, how it needed to be changed because it was just too good. And I think that the main reason for the mana change instead of like the attack change on this weapon is because of the recent Twin Slice change. Because the Twin Slices are just so powerful now that like on turn 6, playing the Twin Slice with Warglaves is just too strong, honestly. So I think that's the whole reason behind this change.
That's a fair point.
Pushing that back to 7 though is like overkill. Just saying.
I think that's what they had to do.
Yeah, I mean, like, but it's like not even like we have to consider like, is that even good enough to run them though? You know, like
I don't know.
it's gonna. You think that's what you want, Dan, but it's gonna turn into like people running Priestess of Furies again and shit like that, and then you're gonna totally hate that you like this. You know, it's gonna turn into people cheating out like 6/5s and stuff like that to kill all the mage health really early instead of even caring about the Warblades. It's gonna turn into something like that. Just so you know.
I know something more annoying is gonna happen. It always happens, but this card needed a change, and this was, in my opinion, the most broken card in Demon Hunter. It was so broken that people literally made a deck around it called Control Demon Hunter. Like you just run 2 of these, you run 2 Horde Pillagers.
I believe the proper vernacular is the elongated beatdown. Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah, correct. Well, if you remember though, back in 5-mana Skull Demon Hunter day 1, this card didn't make the cut. So, like, all I'm saying is Warglaves was not in the deck from the beginning. Warglaves was something that someone found out like a couple weeks in after we started, you know, nerfing it like 18 times. And then we were like, oh yeah, if we take this out, we can kill all their stuff. But the problem is that, like, you know, it's not going to stop the damage from Demon Hunter. They're just going to do something else.
It's kind of funny, right? Like whenever they nerf something in Demon Hunter, then people just discover, oh, this card that nobody plays in Demon Hunter is actually broken too. We're gonna play this, and then they nerf it.
Yeah, we're gonna be back here next week talking about why Imprisoned Antane is going to 7. It's gonna
I still think that card's really good.
It is good. It's really cool, especially against Priest. It's like the best card ever against Priest.
We might have done dirty things against the Priest with that card. Maybe 2 of them in an upcoming YouTube video to a theater near you soon.
The insurmountable damage Demon Hunter.
Yes. All right, we're at an hour, and we've got 2 more cards. Plus, we've got to do Q&A. So
we'll speed it up.
Yeah, it's time to put on the boosters.
The rocket boots.
On our tricycles or whatever. Yeah.
It's a card, guys, okay? No one played it, but anyway.
3-wheeler. That's the word I was looking for. Anyway, Corsair.
I think this nerf is actually more substantial than people give it credit for the same reason that I was talking about nerfing the attack on Warglaves, where not being able to kill the 3-mana minions that happen with Warrior is a way bigger deal than people are giving this credit for on surface level. Because even though you don't get the extra attack, if your opponent has like an Armani War Berserker or whatever out there on the board now, and you play your Ankar, like that whole situation's gonna spiral out of control on you now. And that's huge.
Very true. I think this card is now fair. I haven't played a ton of Warrior in this expansion because I don't like the build of it currently. It's not really Warrior-like. Having the durability is kind of like the most important part of the weapon. The attack and its effect are kind of just like icing. So like I look at like Wrench Caliber. I don't like Ankar at all, but I look at like Livewire Lance and Wrench Caliber and their effects. The 2 attack is cool, but you get the lackeys. Most of the time, you get to kill most of a small minion, and with the wrench, you get the bomb, right? So, like, to me, the durability is more important than the attack. Granted, the attack allowed it to, like, spiral out in the early game, because not only did you draw a card, you have a 3 durability weapon, you get to kill basically anything your opponent plays, and you generate value, or you do damage, and you shut down their Highlander package. It's just like, Jesus, mother of God, it's turn 2, and you just, like, do I get to play Hearthstone? So... I think it's fair now. I still think it's good, and I still think it's going to be played. I just think it's not as like oppressive. Like the card was just like how could you not afford to run this in your warrior deck that had weapons in it. And now it's like, okay, well, good, but maybe there could be something else, but still good, you know?
It made Wrench Caliber do how much residual damage in one card? It was 4 mana, deal 4. It's 4 attack each turn with 3 durability, so it's a 4/3. So that's 15
27?
damage in bombs and 12. So that's crazy.
Yeah, it was a bit too much damage, and like it didn't even matter what weapon your opponent got for turn 3. They're just gonna smack you for at least 9, and it's pretty insane stuff. So I'm glad that this happened. I know a lot of people have been saying like it's not really doesn't do anything or whatever. I mean, it's still a good card, definitely a good card, especially with like Wrench Caliber in specific. Just because that extra durability, that extra bomb is huge. But I wonder if you even run this anymore in like the regular Enrage Warrior that just has like live wire lances and Ankar.
Probably.
Well, yeah, because I mean, part of it's just like thinning out your deck and like
Finding your skippers.
Yeah, make sure you get Ankar to find your skippers, and then like also just getting residual value from the lackeys. Like I think you still run it, but like yeah, I entirely agree with Warshack. The value derived from most of the weapons in Warrior comes from the durability. It comes from the effect, and so like it just makes it easier on other classes not to have to deal with like getting completely smacked in the face with like additional attack or just removing a lot of the minions on the board that are going to be susceptible to 3 and 4 attacks. So I think this is a really good nerf. I think this is like an example of nerf that everybody should be happy about. Like it doesn't make it unplayable for the class. It's still a good card for the class, but it also makes it more comfortable for everybody else playing against it. So.
And it has a meta impacting ripple effect with everything, you know, like for the 3 mana minion just got way better at it. Just like how that taunt got way better against like the Shield of Galakron's way better against Metamorphosis now. Now Armani Berserkers are going to destroy Warriors very consistently.
Yep.
That's why we got to run upgrade.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think about that. I'm kidding.
All right, we got fungal failures.
Yes. Thank Jesus for this nerf, dude. Oh my gosh, this card is absolutely ridiculous. Like, for a deck that, like, I think that they thought that this condition was a lot more kind of restrictive, maybe when they printed this card. But like, this deck is literally running 3 minions a lot of the time, right? It's literally running 2 Mount Sellers and Ysera, or like maybe if in the Dragon version they're running some Explorers. So like, it's literally just like a 2 mana draw 3, right? And then also being able to play it on turn 2 is just like absolutely absurd, right? So I do think that Fungal Fortunes being 3 mana is going to be extremely impactful and will help like not make this deck just get entirely out of control too early, because it also eliminates being able to play Wild Growth on turn 3 if you're running a deck that does that, and it also is like makes it a little bit harder to get a whole bunch of spells in your hand for Glowfly Swarm, right? Which I mean, it still comes down before Glowfly Swarm does, but like it also means you can't like do removal based things on turn 3, which can be really important for Druid as they deal with some of the more aggro decks, right? So I love this nerf. I think this nerf is great.
No more Ysera innervate fungal fortunes into a whole bunch of Dargans.
Yeah,
that's like the main thing. Besides that, like it really doesn't change too much, because like it's just between like it's basically just those turns where you play like Mount Seller plus the Fungal Fortunes or Ysera plus the Fungal Fortunes. It slows that down, and I think that's the main change. Like at the beginning of the game, your ramp is really at 4 mana anyway, right? Or like 2 mana for Breath of Dreams if you run that. But like I don't think this really impacts the early game, but I think it like too much. I think it's just more of that late game kind of push extra spell.
You have to remember that's the turn that they play Overgrowth, though.
Yeah, it's that turn, and it's the turn where like a lot of tempo swings happen. Like not swings necessarily, but like a lot of tempo building happens, right? Like turn 3 is really impactful for like a ton of decks, like Demon Hunter, Rogue, Warrior. Like they all have 3 drops that are like pretty significant, and so like them not being able to do stuff to remove like they can't play Wrath to like remove a 3 health minion because they have to play Fungal Fortunes is like that's gonna matter.
Yeah.
So should definitely hit the win rate a lot.
I agree with D-Money, as he mentioned. It kind of just slows down those power turns. Like they still have the ability to Mount Seller and Fungal, but they need 10 mana, right? And they don't get to have that extra mana afterwards to be able to play, you know, cards like Wrath and cards like Power of the Wild if they have Innervate. So it still does exactly what it does. It just slows it down, allows the opponent to actually have a removal card if they needed that one more turn to have enough mana to even play cards like, Flame Strike that no one plays, or Brawl, or Twisting Nether, just to have time to be able to put, because right now, with the ability to put so much stats on the board so quickly, especially with Druid, the opponent a lot of times, they may have their removal in their hand, but they don't have the mana to be able to even, deal with it or even slow it down. So this slowing that blowout turn, even down just one, tick, it is good. Another note was you mentioned Ysera into Innervate and a Fungal, and that's why Frizz is coming back, baby, because Frizz will discount Ysera, and then it all just fits together.
God, now. But
and
Frizz
then
as a 4-drop is bad though, right? Because then it's going to compete with Overgrowth, right?
No, don't think like that. No, but yeah, I was just memeing about the Frizz thing. And then also we had Drem just dropped a 20 bomb, so I just wanted to say thanks, Drem. That's appreciated, dude.
Thank you, Drem. I think that's the nerfs, right?
That's everything.
Q&A.
So is it Q&A? All right, Q&A.
Random question for Pocket while we're merging into Q&A. Have you seen the thing about the huge buff that Magic Carpet now has with Galakron Rogue? Because if you run it in your deck, all the minions you draw have Rush.
Yeah.
Off of Galakron. So if you throw in 2 carpets, then you can just spit them all out and run them into everything.
That's fucking interesting.
Yeah. So somebody actually very briefly mentioned this in a stream where I was doing some deck crafting with Rogue. Because I was running the Death Rattle Rogue, and I of course I run Anka, and so I was playing Magic Carpet, and it came up, and somebody was like, "Oh, could this possibly be good with Galakron?" And in my mind, my first initial reaction was like, "Nah, no way, no how." But then later that night, I thought about it, I was like, "Wait a minute, that could actually be kind of good." The only problem though is that there is no world in which you can play Galakron for 7 mana, Magic Carpet for 3 mana, and then the minion that you get for 1 mana, right?
Well, you draw the Magic Carpet off for 1 too.
Well, yeah, that's assuming that you get to draw the Magic Carpet, right? But if you don't, then you're never gonna pull that whole combo off in 1 turn. So it's it's still it could be a little bit slow. I guess it could kind of work, but I don't think it's good enough to be able oh, this is a meta breaker. This is something that we can actually run all the time. But it's interesting for sure.
It's funny to think about.
I actually think that's pretty damn good. Because you have the lackeys anyway that you're generating. So you don't even have to really make your deck around the carpet too much. It's just an added thing that's
value.
Yeah.
You know what's very fun with carpet, if you haven't tried it? The Dark Pharaoh in Warlock, giving the lackeys the ability to be 1 mana 4/4s, and then playing carpet, and you get to play a 1 mana 5/4 with Rush. I don't know if you've tried that or not, but it's fairly exciting.
Warshack is saying run Dragon's Horde in your Rogue so that you can also get that card.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
though, honestly, with or without Magic Carpet, if you get Dark Pharaoh to con from
you win.
The game's over. You don't need Magic Carpet. The game's just over, right? Because you're literally.
You don't also want to give your opponent Rug Burn.
Rug Burn. Nice.
Yeah.
Rug Burn Rogue.
Yeah, the Dark to Con thing, that thing always happens against me, but never.
Pocket Ace has got frozen. Yeah, he got so excited. Look at him, and he just froze like that in excitement. He will perpetually, forever be in a parallel universe where he is that excited.
Yeah, you're good now, Pocket. By the way, you're good. But yeah,
anyone can ask questions now. By the way,
yes,
we're literally waiting on that while we're just BSing here.
But Dark to Con, yes, that always happens against me, Warshack, but it's never a Warlock playing it. It's always Rogue. Either they get it from Dragon's Horde, or they evolve a 3-drop into. Actually, I don't even know how much mana that costs. That costs 5, right?
He costs 5 mana.
Yeah, they'll use an evolve lackey and evolve a 4-drop, and then they'll shadow step it. Yeah,
for 1 mana.
I actually wonder, does Zoo Rogue become kind of is that a concept everybody's tried before? Because you remember they also have the 1 mana pirate that.
I played. I had a 77% win rate with that Zoo deck with Dark Pharaoh lackeys and carpets.
No,
with
I was
also
talking about
Grand
for
Lack
Rogue,
in there.
Though.
Oh, for Rogue. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, is that ever a thing? I don't know. I don't know if they have enough like 1 mana.
Oh, yes.
Remember, like, Spy Mistress is really like powerful there. Like if they ran like Magic Carpet with like the Bloodsail Flybooter and the Spy Mistress and the Stealth package, and then you generate lackeys with Miscreant and maybe even Galakron stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. That becomes interesting.
So pocket aces in that variation, which I might have tried and played very poorly, Sea Giant works very well because if you can get your Sea Giant for 1 mana, it can also have Rush, and it's very easy to get Sea Giant at 1 mana because you have your Bloodsail guys. Because you get a bunch of 1/1s that way. Not that I've ever tried or attempted this at any point in time, but just to say that, you know, it could be it's definitely pretty memey.
Okay, we have questions now, boys.
Yeah, let's go through them rapid fire.
Okay, what is the most dustable card from the nerfs? Golden Rogue Galakron. Next question.
Well, okay. Wait. Well, the thing is with like somebody said, yeah, it was like, what do you think? Yeah, the most dustable card. You can really dust every single card that gets nerfed, and then if you want to make it later, you can make it again later because you're gonna get the full value, and then it's gonna be the same thing in the long run. So you could even test it out for a bit just to make sure it does suck, and then you could get rid of it, and then if you ever want to make it later, you're gonna go even on it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Stamp of approval. 100% guaranteed satisfaction.
What are you playing on day 1 of the nerfs? Demon Hunter. Next question. Sorry, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm really kidding. But seriously, Demon Hunter.
I'm probably playing Hunter. Since Rogue got completely just like smashed to the ground, I'm probably playing Highlander Hunter because I think it'll still be really good.
Yeah, I bet.
Wow, not standing by your rogue comrades?
Mm.
You're just going to ditch out like that, dude?
Man. It needs some support, but trust me, I will be back with Rogue, and I'll be back with a vengeance. Once I get a spicy deck list going, like, trust me.
How about you just start throwing in Malagos? Throw in like 2 more big creatures. So Galakron can hit those for 1, and then you have like an OTK potential in the deck.
Sure.
It's pretty smart.
I think J. Alex and Jiminator have thrown out some really, really good ideas for alternatives to run in the wake of the nerfs, but I think as a player, like I also just want to develop and get better, and I think I've learned 2 classes I would say probably pretty decently well. That's Priest, which I have over 1,000 wins on, and then Rogue, which I have like 1,500, 1,600 wins on. So like I do just kind of want to expand my arsenal a bit. So that's a drum.
Priest is probably gonna be really good after the nerfs, honestly.
Yeah, I'm expecting Priest, Highlander Hunter, and Warrior to just be the top decks after the nerfs. Because they got touched the least, and just based on the changes, they should be shining.
But then the week after that, it'll be Demon Hunter again.
Yeah,
because people will figure out what cards kill people the most.
That's true.
I see a rise in Lucent Park Druid. It's coming. The trees are
always
coming.
worked.
The bark is coming.
What mage is D-Money gonna play? Highlander mage. What? Come on.
Totem Mage. What about Shaman, derp? What about Shaman, right? I'm doing the worst of questions today, guys. I'm sorry.
You're awful. You're never coming on this podcast.
Wait a second. Did they say they're releasing the new class Shaman in this next patch update? Is that what you
I
said?
heard that.
Yeah.
Maybe like 1 or 2 more questions. Real quick.
Yeah, let's do
You guys
one
see-
question.
Yeah,
One more
one.
question. We're
One.
out of time.
Uno.
You guys get one good question. That's all you get. Use it wisely.
What's
Yes
your
or no?
favorite color?
Okay.
If no one asked one, I think something someone mentioned earlier is like what class do you think will get cool hero portraits with the next expansion?
That's a good question.
Oh, please don't be fucking Shaman.
Probably Shaman.
Like,
They're not gonna do it.
It's gonna be Shaman.
Druid needs cool because that tree fucking thing is creepy as hell. Let me tell you,
Yeah, it's
whoever
gotta be
thought that
Rogue,
tree
man.
thing was a good sell, that shit is creepy AF.
Rogue
Rogue
deserves it.
is owed, like not just deserves. We are owed a hero card. Okay, so
There's like 2. There's Valera and Maiev. That's it.
All right.
Their
Rogue or
1,000
Druid will do.
win one absolutely sucks too. So
Which one?
our 1,000 win portrait?
Yeah,
Hera?
that's
pretty
like that's like that Halloween one. That's like the costume portrait, but just like remade a little bit.
I don't want that. Yes.
But I actually love Dame Hazelbark. I think
Me too.
that's
What,
my
you
favorite.
think that- Are you kidding me?
portrait.
Dude,
I
he
love it,
freaks me out. Oh no, no,
I
no.
like that. I like that he's a little creepy. You know, I don't know.
You
It
like
kinda,
that?
It's kind of intimidating to your opponent. Yeah, it's like I got this
Valid.
creepy tree. Like you don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. All right, I don't know. It's very unique. Like it's unlike any other portrait as well. So that makes it just cool on its
Yeah.
own.
It's so bad. It's in its own category.
Exactly. It's so bad that it's good.
Oh my goodness. All right, boys. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our podcast for today. As always, thank you, D-Money and Draco, for joining us. Thank you, Pocket Aces, for being our guest in this
Yeah.
weekend's podcast. It was awesome to have you. You gave some
Thanks
great
for having me.
insight. Yeah, absolutely. It was a pleasure.
Yes.
See you
thank
guys
for-
later. Thanks for having me once again.
Yeah, this is the last time, bro. So don't get
I'll try harder next time. I promise, guys.
the way you handled that Q&A section. Our sponsors are gonna be very upset.
I know.
No, but big shout out to Pocket Aces. We
Thanks,
have
man.
his channel in chat there too. We have my channel and DracoCatt's channel as well. Pocket Aces is a really cool guy. He's on my team Hype Horizon along with DracoCatt, and he plays a lot of Rogue, but he just always has a good time. He also has a beautiful singing voice that we didn't talk about. He does have a channel point redemption for singing, and I know all of his fans love it. I love it. He just got new emotes too. You know, just shouting him out a little. He's awesome, dude. You should totally check out his channel. He's just a really nice guy in general too. So, yeah, thank you for joining. Love to hear what you had to say. I mean, Pocket Aces. Sorry, just one more thing. Pocket Aces does have a TED Talk too, so that's why he sounds so great, and he knows what he's talking about. Like he has just such a way with words. So,
Oh, you're making me blush.
yeah, thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I really had a good time.
Awesome.
Absolutely. All right. Catch you guys later. Later, Gators.